This is Enrich for the women who dare to build something richer on their own terms. I'm your host, Rana. For most of my life, I was too much of something for every room I walked into. Too Americanized for the Lebanese, too much of an immigrant for the Americans, and I never fit clearly on either side. And for years, I treated that as a problem to fix. Then I understood what was actually happening. The in-between was the whole advantage. I had become more of myself, and I had learned to take from each world the parts that made me move faster, think sharper, and give more, and to leave the rest behind. Here's why I'm telling you this. Because you don't have to be an immigrant to know this feeling. Almost every woman has been handed some version of the same instructions. Be less ambitious, so you're easier to be around. Be softer, be smaller, be quieter. Fit the room, fit the shape that the room already has. This show is for the woman who is done doing that. The one who has always been a little too much of something for every room and is starting to suspect that is exactly the point. Because the version of you that blends in is the version that the market forgets. I'm Dr. Rana Sabra, and this is Enrich. Welcome to the very first episode. If you are here, there is a good chance you are the most qualified, hardest working woman in most of the rooms you walk into. And somewhere, quietly, you have been wondering why that has not been adding up to the business or to the life you pictured when you started. You are exactly who this podcast is for. Here's who I am. And I'm going to keep it short. I have spent 25 years working where marketing and psychology overlap and where culture meets with both of them. In more than 20 countries with thousands of women building the real thing. I'm a behavioral scientist by training, which is a long way of saying I study how people actually decide, trust, and buy. Not how we wish they did, but how they actually do. Everything on this show comes from that. I named this show Enrich on purpose because rich to me has never only meant the number in the account in the bank. For 25 years, I have watched brilliant, and I mean brilliant women build businesses that look so impressive from the outside and costing them a lot from the inside. The revenue is there, and the life is shaking. The revenue is there, but the relationships and the health are shaking. The title is on the door, and the woman holding it is just running on empty. This show refuses to make you choose between the two. The money and the life you wanted it for are the same goal. And most of the advice you have been handed out there is asking you to choose. The promise underneath every episode is very simple. Human behavior and not algorithm, because that is what's going to drive growth. When you understand why people decide, trust, and buy, you stop chasing platforms and you start building something that actually compounds. Now, let me show you why I opened with my own story. Because this show is about every woman. And what I told you about being too much in every room is the single most useful thing I know about building a business for female entrepreneurs. And almost no one will say it to you plainly. So I will. The thing you were taught to file down and to tune down is your entire competitive advantage. Okay? Let's say this again. The thing that we were asked to tune down is our competitive advantage. To put it in real science, because I don't do slogans, there is a principle in memory research called the von Restroff effect, also known as the isolation effect. And it's named for Hedwig von Restroff, who documented it in 1933. The finding is simple, and it has held for almost a century. Put a row of similar things in front of someone and make one of them different. the brain remembers the different one and quietly drops the rest. So sameness is forgettable at a neurological level, while difference is what the mind keeps. Now look at your market. It's a long row of similar things, and all of the markets. Same promises, same color palettes, same safe language. Everyone is trying to sound credible by sounding like everyone else. And into that row of sameness, you have been taught to make yourself one more matching item. Smoother, softer, less specific, more comfortable to look at. That instinct is costing you the only thing that actually drives a buying decision, which is being remembered. The woman who lets her difference show is the one people remember. And in a market that is crowded, all of the industries are crowded. Being remembered is the whole game. The woman who blends in loses for a quiet reason. There is nothing distinct for the mind to hold onto. So it just lets her go. This is where the personal brand becomes the strategy. The accent, the unconventional path, the way you see a problem that no one else in your category sees, the parts of your story that you've been hiding or editing to seem more familiar. That is isolation effect working in your favor for free the moment you stop hiding it. Share all of that with the world. If you want a clear read on where you are losing people, start with the free marketing clarity audit. It's 10 questions. It will take you 2 minutes, but it shows you where your marketing is leaking the clients that you really want to work with and and what to fix first. It's for free. It's at renosabra.com/quiz. So this is what you're going to expect from this show. Every week, most of the times it's going to be the two of us, 20, 15, 30 minutes, depending on the week. Some weeks I will bring you the research, the behavioral science behind why your market does what it does. Some weeks I hand you a framework you can use in the same day. Some weeks it's going to be a little bit quieter conversation about what it actually costs to build something while keeping your life intact. What I will never do is hand you inspiration that will just disappear by Monday. Every single episode leaves you with one thing you can think, decide, or do that day. That is the promise. Before I give you the one thing to do this week, I want to name something because it sits underneath this entire show. You have been getting contradictory instructions your whole career. One room tells you to be softer, slow down, be more intentional, and dresses that up as slow living, feminine energy, the whole boss babe lifestyle. And you have the complete opposite room that tells you to go all in, push harder, never let them see you rest. The loudest voices online they call exhaustion ambition and rebrand running on empty as professionalism. Both get sold to you as the answer for building a successful and sustainable business. And both are wrong because both assume there is one correct setting for a woman to run on her entire career. And that you simply have to find that setting and lock yourself there for good. That's not how anything alive actually works. Look at nature. There's day and there's night. There is a season to plant, there is a season to harvest, and a season where the field look empty and is quietly doing the most important work there is. Nothing alive runs at full output every day of the year, and nothing is asked to. We are the only ones, we are the only creatures who took that expectation on and renamed it as discipline. But here's the part most people get wrong. And I want to be very precise because this is where it actually gets hard. Honoring your seasons is not a permission to just stop. The real discipline lives in one thing, knowing exactly which season you are in, being honest about it, and acting accordingly. Knowing what to prioritize right now, and knowing the morning the season has turned, when it is time to get off the couch and put the speed back on. Because in your gut, you know you are meant to be building right now, not recovering. There is a real danger in getting that wrong in the other direction. You let a resting season run too long, you lose the muscle of getting up and getting things done. The momentum drains out quietly, and one day you look up and you have plateaued. A plateau is where the slow quitting begins. You stop reaching. Things pile up unfinished, and eventually that pile is so high that starting again feels impossible. So you do nothing at all. That is what happens when you mistake a season for a permanent address. So this is the whole skill. And it's neither of the two things you have been sold. Read your season honestly. Be very honest with yourself. Give it exactly what it needs and have the courage to change gears the moment it turns. A slower season protects the engine. A pushing season uses it. Knowing which one you are in and acting like it is the most underrated discipline there is. Before I let you go, one thing for this week. It is small and most people never do it, which is exactly why they keep chasing the outside version of success forever. Write one sentence. What does rich on the inside actually look for you? Not the revenue figure, but the texture of the day. The hour you start your day and the hour you stop your day. Who's in the room? What you are no longer willing to trade for it. Most women have never defined this. So they spend years and years optimizing for a version of success they never actually chose. And here is how it connects to everything we just talked about today. The distinct, unmistakable version of you is also the one with the clearest idea of what she is building towards. You cannot stand out while you are still living by someone else's definition of enough. Name yours today, name it this week in one sentence, and keep it where you will see it. This is the whole idea, a business as rich on the inside as it looks from the outside, built on how people actually work rather than how the internet tells you to chase them, and powered by the parts of you that you were once told to hide. If this resonated with you, do two things for me. Subscribe so the next episode finds you without you having to look for it. And if there is a woman in your life who needs to hear this, please send it to her. That is how we grow, women to women. And take the free marketing clarity audit at renosabra.com/quiz before the next episode. So the next time we talk, you already know where your marketing is leaking and where to start. You know what to do, and I will see you in the next one.